So the next topic we're going to talk about is shifting from music onto our more preferable content.
Yeah, let's get it.
Comics and comic related things. So I was on YouTube, right? Just perusing, doing my usual YouTube thing.
Okay.
And I came across an interview that the voice actor for Terry McGinnis, Batman Beyond, Will Friedle, I think is how you say his last name. He was Eric and Boy Meets World,
and
Ron Stoppable, Kim Possible, and the Terry McGinnis, right? And
those are three great roles.
Yeah, no,
to coast to it.
I was fascinated because someone had asked him a question, or at least posed to him a statement that I hadn't really thought about before, and it was up until that point, because that was like early 2000s. Up until that point, Terry McGinnis was the first character to be Batman other than Bruce Wayne that people accepted. So by that point, the only other person who had been Batman, at least in terms of, I think, the comics and the shows, was Jean Paul Valley, who was Azrael.
Oh, right.
And so he was Batman for a bit, or a Batman like
character.
Yeah, in replacement of Bruce Wayne. People didn't like him because he was more like an anti-hero and stuff like that, and or a villain.
Wasn't he packing people too? Yeah.
So there was a lot of things there, but Terry McGinnis was the only other character to be Batman, and the fans accepted it.
Right.
And I don't think we've really seen that since. So like other people have donned the mantle of Batman, Dick Grayson, Damian Wayne, Jason Todd. I think even Tim Drake has been Robin at some point. Not Robin, Batman at some point. And there's been like Lucius Fox's son had in the future.
Wasn't it a run where they was like switching out they took a day
probably,
or something?
It was probably when Batman was missing.
Yeah, or he died.
Like
he quote unquote that's what it was. He died, and they were like, Batman can't be dead, and then each of the Robins
kind of filled
was
in.
Batman each day or something like that.
So just from that point, it made me think: is Terry McGinnis the GOAT? Because he's the only other person to be Batman who everybody has kind of accepted to be Batman. Batman Beyond, but still Batman. And no one has really no one has felt some type of, at least no one has vocally felt some type of way about that. Like he was kind of like not instantly, but he was kind of like almost instantly beloved character.
No, he was.
Original Batman as his man in the chair. He kind of had Bruce Wayne's like sometimes, he sometimes had Bruce Wayne's like serious demeanor, but he wasn't traumatized. So he felt more like a person. He made mistakes.
Right.
He beat himself up about those mistakes, but he still made them. But he always made sure that he made them right. And he wasn't always fixated with this idea of justice. And he was always willing to like bend the rules if it was called for.
Right.
Which Batman, he kind of does that, but usually 9 times out of 10, justice.
Oh yeah, it's justice almost every time. I think with Terry, not to take away from him being great, because it's a great character. Batman Beyond is amazing. I grew up on that. I even like Batman Beyond more than the regular Batman most times. Yeah. You know how I feel about prep time and all that bullshit. But I feel like what helps him is the circumstances. I feel like other people had different circumstances, whereas he was Batman's old as shit. He's not fighting. He can't fight crime. He'll die. Whether it be breaking something or having a heart attack, he can't do it. He's actively right there with him in spirit, like in his ear, but he's actively, Batman is basically point guarding him to do what he needs to do. Like, yes, Terry has his own mind and he makes his own decisions, but that's like a point guard today having Steph Curry or somebody in his ear 24/7. It's like, I'm going to run the offense, but I have somebody that knows the game telling me, hey, go over here, do this, set the screen, set that person up. You see what I'm saying? So I think his circumstances allow fans to be more accepting of him than they would be if, Batman died, so now Dick Grayson has to be Batman. You see what I'm saying? That's a little different circumstance.
That's a good point.
Not to take away from him. I love Terry. I'm just saying.
That's a good point. My only counter to that is that they had it in the Batman Beyond storyline to where it showed Bruce being a little bit older, but not too old and decrepit, wearing the Batman Beyond suit because it was like, you know, this super battle tech that made him like even the odds now that he was growing older and weaker and slower, stuff like that. And it kind of showed like his progression from that into who we see as the old decrepit man who at some point was a little bit of a Scrooge, but then started to open up because Terry was in his life, right? And I felt like I would have not been surprised if fans had grabbed that episode and was like, we need more of this. Like seeing an older Batman having to now rely more on technology to now even the odds and stuff like that. But there was none of that. Like there was no like outcry of like, we need this, because usually what happens, right? When they put Batman in a situation to where he can't be Batman anymore, first outcry is either why can't he be, or why can't we see what led up into that? And so I feel like they kind of like the fact that Terry was such a good replacement that everybody was just okay with the fact that you've only ever seen Batman at his peak 1 or 2 times in an episode, in either a flashback or the Lazarus Pit episode. It was kind of like that kind of showed the fans were okay with the passing of title to Terry. Because I understand what you're saying, and I fully agree with it. But I also counter that if Terry was a bad character, they wouldn't have cared. They wouldn't have cared that in that world Bruce was old and decrepit.
That's fair. I agree with that. Yeah, that's a fact.
He couldn't
if
fight
it was a shit
anymore,
character,
they would be like, bring Bruce back.
That's true.
They would not give 2 shits. But you're right. Good enough character, good enough circumstances.
That's what I was gonna say.
Equal.
I think it's 50-50. We agree on something. It's 50-50 on that. It is Terry just being a good character, great even, on top of like Batman is still there in a sense. Like it's not like I think in other circumstances Batman is either missing or dead or incapacitated or something and somebody got to take over. I don't think people like that. This is, I could probably do it, but I found this kid, I could point guard him, he do it. And I think people are more accepting of that.
Okay.
R&P moves, R&P groove, ayy. Yeah, I've been in the R&P